He is about to end you right here, in front of everyone, and nobody is brave enough to stop it." The words were spoken with cruel certainty, thrown into the night by one of the 5 men as they closed in. Their bodies blocked the light. Their steps were slow, confident, practiced. These were not men who rushed. These were men who enjoyed knowing fear arrived before they did. The street felt smaller with each step they took. People pressed back into doorways and behind cars, eyes wide, mouths closed. Everyone on that block knew what those men represented. Korean Mafia. Power built on silence and intimidation. Power that usually went unanswered. Amara Cole stood beneath the flickering streetlight, rain misting her coat, and she smiled. It was not a weak smile. It was not nervous. It did not ask for mercy. It was calm and steady, almost peaceful, like she had already accepted whatever came next and was not afraid of it. Cliff's smile landed wrong. It slowed the men just enough for confusion to creep in. The crowd felt it too, that strange pause when something dangerous hesitates. They judged her instantly. Black woman, alone, simple clothes, no visible protection. 5 large men against 1 quiet woman. The outcome felt obvious. They believed. Her smile was fear pretending to be brave. They believed the crowd's silence was permission. They did not understand the kind of silence she carried. Amara's eyes moved calmly, taking in everything. The wet pavement, the distance between bodies. The leader's weight shifted too far forward. One man's heel slick with rain. Another man glancing toward the shadows, already thinking about witnesses. Her breath stayed slow and deep, the way it always did when pressure tried to rise. Her knee ached, a dull reminder of a life before this street, before this city, before tonight. She had learned long ago that fear announces itself, but control stays quiet. The leader stepped closer, close enough that his presence pushed into her space. His confidence filled the air. His hand lifted, brushing her coat like she was an object to be moved. The crowd reacted as one, a ripple of flinches and held breaths. Someone whispered for her to run. Someone else turned their head away, already deciding they did not want to remember this moment. Amara did not move. Her stillness felt like defiance, and defiance angered men who were used to obedience. Her calm made them uncomfortable. Calm was not supposed to exist here. Years before this night, Amara learned exactly what 3 seconds could change. She grew up in a home where strength was never loud. Her mother came home tired but steady, smelling of soap and work, never complaining, never quitting. Her father spoke softly but stood firm, teaching her that respect was something you lived, not demanded. From them, she learned that real power did not need witnesses. When she joined the military at 19, she carried that lesson with her. Training was brutal and honest. Cold mornings bit into her lungs, sweat soaked into dirt and concrete. Orders came sharp and fast. She learned discipline, restraint, and how to stay calm while being underestimated. She learned how to move when others froze. She learned that anger wastes energy and fear clouds judgment. Then came the mission that reshaped her forever. Heat pressed down like a weight. Dust filled her mouth. Confusion hit fast and stayed. And teammate went down hard, blood dark against the ground. Amara moved without thinking, because training is faster than thought. She dragged him to cover, took the damage to her knee doing it, and stayed with him while medics fought time. She counted his breaths. She told him to stay awake. She promised him he would go home. He did not. At the ceremony. The folded flag rested in her hands, heavier than any gear she had ever carried. The room was quiet, full of grief that had nowhere to go. Amara stood straight, holding herself together. Through force of will, that day, she learned how to place pain behind a calm face. She learned how silence can protect what is breaking inside. After her service ended, she did not chase praise. She lived quietly. She helped when she could. She trained because training had saved lives. She carried one rule like a vow: never strike first. Never strike angry. Strike only when there is no other choice. And that vow stood between her and 5 men in the rain. When the leader's fingers pressed more firmly against her coat, that choice disappeared. Amara felt her body settle. Her breathing slowed even more. Time seemed to widen, not because the world slowed, but because she focused completely. 3 seconds in the first. She turned just enough to break contact, guiding his wrist away with controlled ease. His balance shifted in a way he did not expect. Confusion flashing across his face. In the second, she stepped forward into the space he believed belonged to him, applied precise pressure, and took his breath without rage or excess. His knees bent, his confidence cracked. In the third, she stopped. She did not chase. She did not punish. She did not show off. The leader dropped to one knee, stunned by how quickly power had left him. The other four froze, caught between instinct and disbelief. The crowd gasped, not because of violence, but because of restraint. The story they expected had fallen apart. Amara stood still, shoulders loose, one hand open. Her smile remained, but now it carried certainty, the kind that does not need explanation. She made it clear she did not want to hurt anyone. She made it clear she would not be touched. Her voice stayed steady, calm, final. The leader's anger burned hot, but pride weakened under witnesses. Phones were raised now, held steady. The crowd was no longer just afraid. They were watching with awareness. Respect began to replace silence. Sirens rose in the distance, called by someone who finally found courage. But the sirens did not save Amara. She had already saved herself. The men retreated slowly, carefully, egos bruised, authority exposed. They left without threats, without noise, because they understood something they hated to understand. The streets stayed quiet after, heavy with realization. People crossed the road, not to stare, but to stand near her. A woman gently touched Amara's sleeve, eyes shining. Others followed, offering small gestures, quiet apologies, gratitude they did not fully know how to express. When the police arrived, they reviewed footage and saw discipline instead of chaos, control instead of cruelty. One officer looked at Amara with respect and acknowledged the honor in how she handled herself. She nodded, reminding him that honor is doing what is right when no one expects you to. The video spread later, not as spectacle, but as proof. People replayed those 3 seconds again and again, not because it was loud, but because it was rare, because it showed power without cruelty. Amara did not chase attention. She returned to her quiet life. But something shifted in the city. People spoke up more. People watched differently. Fear loosened its grip, just a little. Weeks later, Emma passed the same street. The broken light was fixed. The pavement looked ordinary again. But please remember, she paused, breathed in the night air, and smiled softly. Some strength shouts, some strength waits, and some strength changes. Everything without raising its voice. If this story stayed with you, share where you were watching from and what stood out to you most. Subscribe for more stories that honor quiet courage, unseen battles, and the power of calm strength.